Hey, it's the Odd Man. I am at the town of Glenn's Ferry, a historic site on the Snake River and the Oregon Trail. I've been in Idaho a couple of days now, visiting my aunt and uncle and their new puppy. But now I'm headed off to the Idaho Backcountry Discovery Route. I went to Idaho and drove what's called the Idaho Backcountry Discovery Route. This route was originally created by and for motorcycle folks, but it's mostly just four-wheel drive trails and gravel roads, so it was perfectly navigable in my car. I only did the section from Glen Ferry to Lowman, which was 156 miles. I stopped in the middle and camped near Trinity Mountain. Then I did a run from my campsite up to the top of Trinity Mountain, which was a lot of walking because it was pretty steep. Okay, so I'm into this maybe a quarter of a mile and I'm already lost. I pulled out of Glenn's Ferry, got on, found the road. Onyx off-road doesn't work very well for getting to the site and selecting that route to navigate. And when I got here, the roads are a little worse than I'd anticipated. This was developed for motorcyclists. And the route, I should have turned to the right down there. Instead, I came up this hill. So I'll go that way. I don't think the road looks very good. So we'll see. It's certainly worth continuing on for a while. It's not impassable by any means. It's just slower than I anticipated. It's about 75 or 80. The entire route is about 150 miles. And my halfway point at Trinity Lakes is, 75 or 80 miles. And I had hoped to do that on good gravel roads at about 20 miles an hour, which would take me 4 hours, of course. And if it's a 5 mile an hour road, like a lot of the four-wheel drive roads in the national parks, it's going to be a long day because it's already about 11 o'clock. Although these are worse roads than anticipated, it's not as slow going as it could have been because they're quite smooth and they're just dirt and sand. But I had hoped to do this trip without wiping out the paint on the side of my car. That's why I came to Idaho, was its wide open spaces. Not sure that's gonna work. There is just tons of tumbleweeds in the road. If those scrape the paint, then it's going to be scraped. Well, if this is about getting off the beaten path, which I like to do, it's pretty successful. We are out in the boondocks. Well, lost again. The Onyx off-road app and Android Auto do not play well together, and as a result, I ended up out on this cool point overlooking the Snake River Valley, which is kind of a fun place, but it's not where I wanted to be, and it's clearly a dead end. So I got to backtrack a little ways and look at the app on the phone, not on the Android Auto thing.
putting gates back wherever I find them. Because of the technology issues, I think I ended up on an offshoot that was rougher and less developed than much of it. So now I'm coming out of BLM lands onto what looks like a much better gravel road, which was kind of what I had anticipated on the trip. So we'll see how much of it is really good road like that. I may be able to get this done in a day after all. Huh, who knows? I got on the much better road, but now I'm going slow because of how washboardy it is. I just think that beats up your rig so badly. I don't want to go over it any faster than I have to. So it looks like I've reached the end of the pavement. Not very far out of town yet still, really. But it's afternoon, it's time for lunch. And I have a weird smell in my car, so I thought I'd kind of check and see. Sometimes I smell it like outdoors, like maybe it's on the wind. Maybe it's all those tumbleweeds I picked up burning on the undercarriage, on the exhaust. I just don't know. But I thought I should at least look around. I don't know. Certainly don't see anything obvious, and don't see any fluid leaks or any of that sort of stuff. So I guess we'll just keep moving on. Going across the top of the dam. This road along the reservoir is a curvy son of a gun. Steep side hills and no guardrails. Pretty fun. It's been kind of a long, ugly climb up here, but we've been getting some elevation. I always have a difficult time deciding how fast to go on these rough roads. I think the car is quite a bit more capable than I am, but even so, I don't want to beat it all up, and if I go too fast, I feel like I'm beating the tar out of the car. But I don't want to take forever at this either, so I still end up going a little fast perhaps at times. Always a trade-off. I keep seeing these huge black bugs in the road, and I was wondering what they were. Gross. It's some kind of cannibalistic black cricket. Nasty. Think I'll start swerving to hit those now. I am out in the boondocks and I keep looking for antelope. There's quite a lot of antelope out here someplace, I guess. But all I ever see are the domestic elk. Okay, well, I saw some cow pies in the road back there, and I thought maybe this was open range. Don't want to hit a cow, I'd probably have to buy it. I went by a huge fancy ranch, and they've obviously watered the road to keep the dust down. And in this direction, the road is really smooth. Benefits of having a rich guy on your road, I guess. Trinity Mountain has a fire lookout on it, or next fire lookout, which seems to be right there. You can see I have another like 5 miles to go to the lake where I'm camping, and then it's just a short ways up to the trailhead to hike to the top of the mountain. This is like most of the route. Very steep side hills, single lane road cut into the hillside, no guardrails. Passing somebody coming towards you is always entertaining. Was he holding up before? Did that mean there's 4 more motorcycles behind him? Yep, that's the deal. They tell you how many more behind them. I'm coming onto a little more major road. I'm hoping it'll be a little faster. The road behind me was about 20 miles from Trinity Mountain. And man, I'm tired of going really slow and dodging all the rocks and the potholes. I think your speed is sort of the result of how much you're willing to thrash your rig. And I tend to be pretty careful with my equipment, so I go pretty slow. This is a much nicer road than I've been on, but I think the higher speeds create more of a washboardy effect. I think in one of those rough places back there I lost a filling. This is the middle fork of the Boise River. I think that's a hot spring over there, across from Browns Creek on the middle fork of the Boise. Clear water like this always makes me want to get in and get wet, but man, it's cold. Well, there was a sign back there not very far that said the main highway, Highway 21, is only 4 miles from there. And the Backcountry Discovery Route branched off and went this way. But I'm done because the road is closed. I was kind of considering bailing out there anyway because I've done plenty of back road driving, so I guess it was fate. I must bail out now. It's wildfire season.
I camped about halfway up this section of the BDR at the base of Trinity Mountain.
Kind of a confusing name, huh? Big Roaring River Lake, I think. Kind of weird name. This is my campsite. Nice campground. There's one guy through the trees back over there. Pit toilets, and one guy over here. Changed my mind. I'm gonna move down here. This is 2 campsites way at the end of the road with nobody around. How fun is that? There's a little alpine meadow here right adjacent to the campground. drinking fountain, fill spout, very nice.
I couldn't find a trail around the lake, but didn't really care because I primarily wanted to climb up to the fire lookout on the top of Trinity Mountain.
I am at the top of the pass here at Trinity Mountain. I'm going to head this direction for a hike out up. You can see the road traveling all along there, and it goes out to that peak, and then it switchbacks up there, and you might be able to see the fire lookout at the top. There's 1,000 feet of elevation gain between here and there, so I'm walking most of this, I'm pretty sure. From the pass up to here, which wasn't very far, was level, so I managed to run that. But now I'm at the gate. Here's the lookout over here. This probably qualifies as a dramatic landscape, don't you think? I hiked this in the morning, and as you can see, it's in the shade. I think in the afternoons this would be brutal. I saw this and it startled me. I thought it was a snake. Looks like the last of the climb is just a little trail. But wow, the views are spectacular. The door was locked, and there's so much stuff in here. It looks like somebody's living here, or it's being actively used. I am at the site of Glenn's Ferry, and I'm standing on the actual ferry. Whether it's a replica or the original, I don't know. But this is Three Island Crossing State Park in southern Idaho. This was the site on the Oregon Trail of one of the Snake River crossings, which were very tough. In a lot of places you can see remnants of the ruts of the actual Oregon Trail. And at this location, the wagons came down out of the hills from the south, headed to cross the Snake River. So that descent could have been original Oregon Trail stuff. That over there could have been Oregon Trail stuff, but it's hard to know what's real. It's been a little while since that happened. This is the access to the actual ford that the Oregon Trail folks used prior to the advent of the ferry. Obviously can't go take a look at that. There's the ferry, of course, and the Snake River. And there's the south end of the ferry cable holder. And then the 3 islands, there's one of them right there. And then the other 2 are out of sight around the corner here. I stopped in at the visitor center and they said that longer, shallower rut is the actual old Oregon Trail ruts from, 200 years ago, whenever that was. They also said you could drive over there and see those ruts. And I'm sorely tempted, but I got other places to be today, so I don't think I'm going to do it. But I'm tempted because it would be cool. I am a long ways up and a long ways out here. So earlier today, I hiked up to the lookout, which, if the road was open, is the highest point in Idaho that you can drive to. So with the gate closed just right over there and a slight amount of elevation gain here, other than those things, I am at the highest point a guy can drive to in Idaho. The elevation here is just about 8,400 feet. I just love getting out and exploring. Such a beautiful morning, cool place. I don't know why I like it, but I do.
Goodbye.
This is the Odd Man, out.